Move the meeting to official with quorum at this time. We've got one more here, so Secretary, please call the roll.
Irwin? Here. Mathis?
Here.
Alejo? Brown? Chavez? Here. Daly? Here. Frazier?
Here.
Solis?
Present.
Okay, let's continue.
All right. I will echo the comments of my colleague, Mr. Daly, and just say this is a great accountability piece, and I was really pleased to read about that. You know, you put the minimum standards so that we're focusing on outcomes and making sure that veterans are getting the services that they need. So, Mr. Frazier, I commend you on that, and with that, I'd like to either motion or add a second motion to support the bill.
I'll move the bill.
So we have a motion and a second. The motion is due pass to approach. Secretary would call the roll.
Irwin? Aye. Irwin, aye. Mathis?
Aye.
Mathis, aye. Alejo? Brown? Chavez? No. Chavez, no. Daly? Aye. Daly, aye. Frazier?
Aye.
Frazier, aye. Solis?
Aye.
Solis, aye.
All right, Secretary, please keep the roll open.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to hand back over. I've got to go down, so. Actually, I'll yield. Yeah. Have Lingling go ahead.
The last bill received 5 votes, so it is out. We're just going to hold the roll open for members to have vote.
All right, and that AB 75 received 5 votes, so it is out, but we will hold the roll open, and we will move on to AB 388. Assemblymember Chang.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. I am pleased to present to you today Assembly Bill 388. This is an important measure to ensure that low-income and homeless veterans receive the highest quality of care through Proposition 41 funding. Last year, voters in California approved $600 million to go to nonprofits and local governments for the purpose of creating multifamily housing for low-income and homeless veterans. Thank you. Well, with that, I ask for an aye vote.
All right, do we have anybody else in support?
Mr. Chairman, Mrs. Chairman, Madam Chairman. I always wanted to say that. Pete Conity representing 20 veterans groups, and we're in support of this bill. And again, this goes to Prop 41, and we have great concerns that the money will not be spent properly because all the veterans groups supported Prop 41 with the understanding that the money would go to homeless veterans, low-income veterans, and female veterans. So we think this kind of required reporting is very necessary. Thank you.
All right, anybody else in support, please just state your name and your position. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Don Harper. I'm with the American Legion Department of California. We are in support of this bill. Thank you.
David Norris, representing the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States Department of California. We support.
Yes, Martin Snezik, representing Vietnam Veterans of America, and we're in support of this bill.
Lorna Grease, representing Military Officers Association. We support this bill.
Lorraine Plas, State Legislative Chair for American Veterans, Department of California. We are in support.
Reed Milburn with the CDP Veterans Caucus in strong support.
All right, do we have anybody in opposition? We have a motion. Do we have any questions, comments? All right, we have a motion and a second. Would the author like to close?
I just respectfully ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Can we please have the Secretary do the roll call?
Motion is due pass to appropriations. Irwin?
Aye.
Irwin, aye. Mathis?
Aye.
Mathis, aye. Alejo? Aye. Alejo, aye. Bro? Bro, aye. Brown? Aye. Brown, aye. Chavez? Daly?
Aye.
Daly, aye. Frazier?
Aye.
Frazier, aye. Solis?
Aye.
Solis, aye. 8-0. The vote is 8-0.
All right, the vote is 8-0. Passes out.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. All right, we will call Mr. Mathis up. On AB 75.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members. Today I'm here to present AB 75, a bill that will permanently fund 36 veteran claim representative positions in the CalVet Veteran Service Division. CalVet currently faces significant challenges with retaining these highly skilled and trained staff because of the current limited terms status of these 36 positions.
Move the bill.
With that, I ask for your aye vote.
All right. All right. Do we have anybody else in support?
Marty Keller, representing the Disabled Veteran Business Alliance, in support of the bill.
Anybody else? Anybody in opposition?
Madam Chair, members, Pete Conity, not really in opposition, but we have several concerns that I've expressed to the author and to the chair and to committee members. We will continue to work with the author, but the client I represent on this one, the County Veterans Service Officers, provide the work for the strike teams. And if they don't get their funding via AB 171 or the state budget, then the strike teams will have a lot less work to do. Even now, the CVSOs are overwhelmed. In Sonoma County, I talked to the CVSO today. He has a 2-month waiting period for any appointment. He also told me that he went from $4 million in claims awarded last year to $19 million this year. So the CVSOs are working as hard as they can to keep up with the workload. And we're also, so if they don't get the money, a lot of CVSOs will be laid off. We're also facing, and we asked for it and we want it, and that is on November 11th, when the word veteran gets put on, veterans will be eligible to get the word veteran put on their driver's license. The CVSOs have issued over 22,000 local ID cards to veterans, which has resulted in over 4,500 claims, and these are just the local ID cards. So we have concerns, but we will continue to work with everyone involved on this issue. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Conity. Do we have any? Mr. Rowe?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Mr. Mathis, thank you for bringing this important bill forward. The backlog of claims and the wait for health care are the two most important issues for veterans that they face with the VA. And this is a great step to help the federal VA address some of these claims. I'm proud to be a co-author, and thanks for bringing this forward.
Thank you.
Any other? Mr. Salas?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mathis. Obviously, anything we could do to help veterans, we're in support of. But, you know, listening to the arguments right now, how do you plan on working with the CVSOs? Because I would hope to see this measure as complementary to what this committee passed earlier this year. In addition to the funding for the CVSOs, and is that something that you promise and commit to work on as we continue?
Oh, absolutely. I'm actually a co-author on the other bill, I believe principal. So, we all know that the first step to getting a claim filed happens with the county veteran service officers. The problem is, for some reason, the VA thinks that delay, deny until they die is their motto, and getting these strike teams ends stops that from happening and gets those backlogs taken care of. Regardless of the number coming in at the county veterans office, there is still a backlog. There's still pile up, and we must maintain the strike teams in order to get those done, to make sure that the hard work that our CVSOs have put forward will get taken care of, and that those veterans are getting taken care of. And that is the bottom line here.
Okay, absolutely. I appreciate that. So you see this as supplemental and not replacing what the strike teams are doing, and very happy to hear that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Would you like to finish up? Mash.
Absolutely. Once again, members, what this does is this goes after specifically the backlog. I mean, there is no debate. You know, you've heard comments today that there's concern over the county veteran service offices. Obviously, they're in dire need of help as well. However, this is looking at the backlog. This is looking at skilled workers who need to ensure that they're going to be employed next year. What this does is there's a sunset currently on there. This ensures that these skilled workers who have been doing this job aren't going to go seek jobs somewhere else because they have no job dependency. This lets them know we're going to keep you, keep working, keep plugging away, and keep taking care of veterans. Again, I ask for your aye votes.
All right. Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. Will the secretary please do the roll?
Motion is due pass to appropriations. Irwin?
Aye.
Irwin, aye. Mathis?
Aye.
Mathis, aye. Alejo? Alejo, aye. Bro? Bro, aye. Brown? Brown, aye. Chavez? Daly? Daly, aye. Frazier? Frazier, aye. Solis? Solis, aye.
Yes, that's 8-0. It passes, but we will leave the roll open for any add-ons. And why don't you, since you're sitting there, why don't you go ahead with AJR 7?
Absolutely, Madam Chair. Again, here to present AJR 7. This resolution calls upon Congress and the President to amend the GI Bill of Rights to make benefits available with all appropriate safeguards to the veterans to use as startup capital for their first businesses. California is currently home of more than 1.8 million veterans. Men and women of the state of California volunteer to serve in the armed forces of the United States in greater numbers than those from any other state. California veterans have been grateful recipients of the financial support of their fellow Americans through the VA and the GI Bill. Some veterans transitioning to civilian life may elect to start their own business as a civilian career path instead of going to school. Up to 10% of veterans choose to start, run, and own their own businesses. The concept of this measure is to assist future entrepreneurs transitioning from military to civilian life in the same way that we currently assist future scholars.
Move the bill.
With that, I request your aye vote. Today with me are a few witnesses, some veteran small business owners.
Okay, witnesses in support.
Should I go the whole thing? All right, hello. Thank you for having me. I am a veteran, having served over 11 years active duty and 4 years in the reserves as the first group of women to fly in the Heavy Division Cavalry Unit in a combat arms role. I speak to you today in hopes that budding veterpreneurs, as we call them, may be able to use a portion of their GI Bill as startup capital. To put this into context, it's estimated that over 40% of recently discharged veterans will become self-employed and start their own businesses, and are 45% more likely to be self-employed than non-veterans. We talked about 1 out of every 10 businesses in this country are veteran-owned. That generates $1.2 trillion in receipts every year, employing over 6 million people, creating $210 billion in annual payroll. Recent data shows that veterans are 70% more successful in opening and growing businesses than our civilian counterparts. However, many don't last because of lack of access to capital. By far the largest obstacle facing business ownership is that reason, and most use their own personal savings at 61.7% to start businesses. President Franklin Roosevelt, who signed the original bill in 1944, thanks to the American Legion who are here, says it gives empathetic notice to men and women in our armed forces that the American people did not intend to let them down while they were sacrificing for the rest of us. Since that date, the GI Bill has been reworked twice. Unfortunately, half of the veterans, whether it be World War II, Vietnam, or today, do not use the benefits of the GI Bill. From the time of discharge, the first few years are the most difficult for veterans. Many feel they don't fit in and are isolated. For the first time in history, military veteran suicides outpace our civilian counterparts. And basically, many are unemployed, are homeless, and have low self-esteem. Giving them training and a purpose every day will not only help them, but our nation. We have proved that we can be successful in business. We just need a little bit of financial help. Let's examine this bill just for a tad. If we were to take UC Berkeley as an example, that would be $131,944 in benefits over 4 years that a veteran has access to. There are several well-established entrepreneurship programs available to veterans for free at universities and corporate sponsors. For example, AT&T has a program for 7 months for service-disabled veterans to learn the skills necessary to become a successful business owner. While others were building their businesses, service members selflessly set aside civilian lives to put their uniform on and serve. We gained a lot of valuable skills. I don't think I need to tell you what those are, but we have. Most of the time, failure in business isn't due to mismanagement, but lack of access to cash and capital to climb out of the startup phase. Recommending amendment to the federal GI Bill program costs the state of California nothing. California only gains, as well as all the other states in the nation, and help us in creating jobs and giving our veterans the dignity that their families deserve and themselves. Give them a purpose and take advantage of what they have learned. President JFK once said, "A nation reveals itself not only by the men it produces, but also by the men it honors, the men it remembers." As over a decade of war winds down, let us not forget about the men and women who served. It has been said that caring for our veterans is the duty of a grateful nation. We don't want handouts, we want work. We want to partake in the American dream of business ownership. Give us that option. Thank you.
All right, other witnesses in support?
Good afternoon. My name is Steve Notes. I'm a 16-year U.S. Air Force veteran. I currently have been in business with a disabled veteran business enterprise for about 12 months. I'm here in support of AJR 7, and I want to thank you all for the opportunity to let me speak. Many of these veterans that we're speaking of already possess years of training and experience, and the idea of going back to school isn't an ideal situation for them. These veterans are motivated and highly skilled individuals that want the opportunity to start their own business and put their skills to work. I'm one of these individuals. I received medical training from the Air Force, experience from multiple deployments to the Middle East, and I've had the opportunity to manage aerospace medicine clinics for several years. And I knew that I wanted to take all this experience and I want to put it to good use. I started working on a plan to start my own medical supply distribution company, and with the guidance of the Disabled Veteran Business Alliance, I was able to come up with a business plan that really fit the skills and knowledge that I had gained in the military. I had everything ready to go, and with my business plan in hand, and I went and I applied for a small business loan. Although my credit score was high and my business plan was well thought out, I lacked significant collateral and was denied the loan. In order to come up with the money, I was lucky enough to get taken back by my old active duty unit for 360 days, where I scraped together all the money that I could make while living back on base. With the save, borrow, and beg money from family members as well, I was able to get the ball rolling. Before you can perform any jobs or bid any contracts, you have to get established. You need capital to buy office supplies, websites, tools, and equipment. After getting my first sales, I was required to pay for products up front before I had any established credit lines and any kind of net terms with my manufacturers. The completion of these sales and the start of my business would have never been possible without the help of friends and family to give me working capital I needed. The majority of the people and other veterans I don't believe may have the same opportunity as I do. For me, this opportunity to have access to capital from a benefit like the GI Bill would have been extremely helpful and probably enabling me to start my company a full 24 months earlier than I actually was able to launch. With strong mentorship and training, along with access to capital, I feel that many veterans would have a greater chance of fulfilling their dreams of owning a successful business. The stress of acquiring initial startup costs and working capital could be set aside to focus on marketing, building strong customer relationships, and planning future growth of the business. I strongly feel that this funding for America's Warriors is a great opportunity to fulfill the original idea of the GI Bill, getting America's veterans established and working after serving their country with honor. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. And do we have other witnesses in support? Please just state your name and your position.
David Norris, representing the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States Department of California. We support.
Don Harper with American Legion, Department of California. We strongly support. Thank you.
Martin Snizik with the Vietnam Veterans of America. We strongly support.
Lorna Grease, Military Officers Association of America. We strongly support.
Lorraine Plas, ASM Vets, Department of California. We support.
Brett Goodwin. I am a California certified disabled veteran-owned business and someone who did not use the GI Bill. I strongly support.
Pete Conity, representing the California Association of County Veterans Service Officers and the California State Commanders Veterans Council, and we're in support.
All right, very good. Do we have any questions of the author? Mr. Frazier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Mathis, it's been noted that a lot of veterans come out of the military highly trained in their craft going forward, and actually the GI Bill gives them an opportunity to go back to school, but they're already trained in their particular craft. Is there any way you could access accreditation or some kind of certificate process that actually accomplishes through their training that they actually have the professional skills to augment this process? In other words, that when they get out of the military, if this was to come to fruition, that they are trained and professionally viable in this environment, so that they don't have to tell banks that I'm just a startup. That this gives them the ability to say, I've been doing this, but is there anything that could accompany this?
Actually, there's some stuff that has recently passed through the federal side that allows, say, for somebody who was a medic, where they can pursue their nursing certificates, or PA. For those who were transportation, such as myself, they can pursue a Class A license. That recently passed through not too long ago. So there is already some stuff like that in the works on the federal level, and they are looking more into such things like that already to make sure that you can take your military training and turn it around to a civilian side certificate program, and in some cases even a degree, depending upon years of service and whatnot.
And I appreciate that, but you look at all the years that the military is paid to train these individuals, then they have to start over with their GI Bill going through, the UC or whatever, and it's kind of redundant and it's double. And so I was just hoping that we could step up a program that acknowledges that they're already professionals going forward, and putting back through the UC or any of the GI Bill thing is just kind of a...
No, I could not agree with you more. One of the points of this to drive back to D.C. is the fact that, look, these guys, and as you've heard today, there's one instance I can speak of personally. The guy that does my heating and cooling, he spent 5 years in Iraq getting flown around replacing air conditioner parts. 5 years. And when he started off as a specialist, which was lower level. He got out as an E7, which moved up. And I mean, you're talking about a guy who has 5 years of experience in the desert fixing ACs while getting shot at. He got out, he started his own small business. Something like this would have allowed him, right now he's got his one pickup truck that he goes around with. I mean, this guy could have an entire fleet right now if he would have had the startup capital. And what this really comes down to is providing the startup capital for those who are experienced, for those who know, for those who have business plans, this is the one piece that they need to get moving. As we all know, small businesses make up 90% of our economy. Let's encourage our veterans to come home, be part of that small business, and drive their businesses forward. This just gives them one more opportunity to help them out so they can be vital parts of our society. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Okay, so that the motion is to adopt, and we have a first and a second. Can the secretary please take the roll?
Irwin?
Aye.
Irwin, aye. Mathis?
Aye.
Mathis, aye. Alejo? Alejo, aye. Bro? Bro, aye. Brown? Brown, aye. Chavez? Daly? Daly, aye. Frazier? Frazier, aye. Solis? Solis, aye.
That's
8-0.
All right, that the motion is do adopt. It goes to the floor, and that's 8-0. We just had a quick request to open up the roll for 1029.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alejo? 1029? Aye. Bro? Aye. Brown? Brown, aye. That is 8-1.
As Mr. Hernandez is coming up, can we have a motion on the consent calendar? All right, Secretary, please take the roll.
The motion is due pass to appropes. Irwin?
Aye.
Irwin, aye. Mathis? Mathis, aye. Alejo? Alejo, aye. Bro? Bro, aye. Brown? Brown, aye. Chavez? Daly? Daly, aye. Frazier? Frazier, aye. Solis? Solis, aye.
All right, Mr. Hernandez, thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair and members, Assembly Bill 393 establishes a Veteran Resource Centers grant program under the Office of Chancellor of the California Community Colleges. According to the CCC, an estimated 2.2 million veterans reside in California, the most in the nation. The number of veteran students is expected to increase dramatically as more military personnel serving in Iraq and Afghanistan complete their service. I'll move right to the most important part here. Recently, the Chancellor's Office released that Veterans Resource Centers Review Project report, which cited progress of several VRCs statewide. Within its findings, the Chancellor's Office found VRCs offered dedicated staff and support to veteran students, which helped these students succeed, and it's working. AB 393 builds on the success of the VRC pilot program by creating a state initiative to expand VRCs and encourage the creation of VRCs at campuses that currently do not offer them. With me to testify in support of Assembly Bill 393 is Staff Sergeant Trey Bunker, a veteran who served in the United States Marine Corps, and today he is currently a student at local Sierra College. Mr. Staff Sergeant, thank you very much for your service. I'd like to ask you now to please testify.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I didn't write anything down for you, so I'm just going to speak from the heart, and excuse my blue hair. So my story starts as a Marine. After I got out, I was stationed in Georgia, and I had hopes of going to school at Berkeley, UC Berkeley. Through research, I found out that California Community College was the best route to University of California, Berkeley. And so 5 days after my discharge, I drove across the country and moved to California and started school at Sierra College 2 days later. Once I got there, with the help of Catherine Morris, our veterans counselor at Sierra College, who has pretty much raised the Veterans Resource Center from a grassroots project to what it is today. We actually have a pretty very big space where veterans not only come in and use the resources that are available to them, but also it offers the veterans a safe place. After someone has served 5 tours of combat and 3 in Iraq and 2 in Afghanistan, I understand the rigors that come after you get out of the military. Now you're a veteran without your combat buddies anymore, your military buddies anymore, and so what you have is, someone in his mid to late 20s going to school with pretty much some 18-year-olds or so, and is very easily irritated and very frustrated with life. And so one thing that the Veteran Centers and Veterans Resource Centers does is actually offers them that safe zone where they can come. Currently, I go to 2 schools, Sierra College and I won't name the other school's name. I'll leave it via that. But there's a difference there. The other school has a cubicle for a Veterans Resource Center, and we have an actual space. We put in the work to be able to build what we have. We've all through donations and such. And when the veterans don't have someone that drive them to do something like this, obviously you end up with a very small space, and you can see the difference in success rates between this, my school at Sierra College and the other school I go to. There's a very, very big difference in success of the veterans. And so I really do commend you on taking up on this bill, and I really enthusiastically hope that you will take and pass this motion. And pass up to the next slide. You guys see?
All right, thank you very much. Anybody else in support?
Oh, thank you, Chair and members. Mark McDonald, McCallum Group, on behalf of a number of local community college districts, Los Angeles, Los Rios, and the South Orange County community college districts. Our colleges do have veteran resource centers. They are starved for resources. The veterans that do come, we serve community colleges serve about half of all the veterans that are returning, that are seeking higher education. So for these reasons, we'd urge your support of this measure. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, members, Pete Conity, and we support this measure greatly. We've supported measures in the past, and as we enter our 14th year of war, it's about time that we make this mandatory. All the studies indicate that veterans will do better if they have a Veterans Resource Center in their community college. Thank you.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support?
Lorraine Ploth, State Legislative Chair for American Veterans. We support.
Don Harper again with the American Legion Department, California. We support this bill. Thank you.
Lorna Grease with Military Officers Association America. We support this bill.
Yes, Martin Snezik, Vietnam Veterans of America. We do support this bill. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Jolene Skeen with the Community College League of California, representing our 72 community college districts, strongly in support.
David Norris, representing the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States, California. We're in support.
Reed Milburn with the CDP Veterans Caucus in strong support, and we thank the author for his continued work for our student veterans.
All right, do we have any opposition? No witnesses in opposition. Questions? Mr. Mathis?
Not a question, statement. Sergeant, great work. During my time in community college at Porterville City College, I got the honor of being vice president and then president of our Student Veterans Club on campus, and we strived forward to create a veteran center on that campus. The ribbon cutting was this past November, and so I completely understand your struggle. I know exactly where you're coming from with moving this forward. I would like to be added as a co-author on this bill. Great work. Anything I can do to help move it forward, let me know.
Thank you. Thank you. Be honored.
All right. I'm sorry. Mr. Bro, questions or comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. A statement. Mr. Hernandez, thank you for bringing this important bill forward. In my district, we have Saddleback College, has a tremendous veterans resource center. Thank you for your service, and thank you for advocating for this across the state. And I, too, would like to be added as a co-author.
Be honored to have you.
All right, so we have a motion and a second, two co-authors. And can I have the secretary please do the roll?
If I can close real quick.
Oh, I am. Mr. Hernandez, I'm very sorry.
I thank you for all the expressed support. I just want to simply say Staff Sergeant Trey Bunker was very modest. Not only did he successfully serve us and our country through 5 tours, but he has successfully navigated to the community college system because of a Veterans Resource Center that was there that helped him, where he also is helping others. And he talked about having the goal of getting to Berkeley. Well, he's been accepted. He's going to Berkeley. So congratulations. With that, I ask for your aye vote.
The motion is due pass to approps. Irwin?
Aye.
Irwin, aye. Mathis? Aye. Mathis, aye. Alejo? Aye. Alejo, I. Bro? Bro, I. Brown? Chavez? Chavez, I. Daly?
Aye.
Daly, I. Frazier? Frazier, I. Solis? Solis, I. It's 8-0.
8-0. And again, that motion is due pass and refer to appropriations. Our last bill, thank you very much.
Madam Chair, is the blue, so does this explain the blue in the hair? Berkeley? Is there some yellow somewhere? I'm just kidding.
Not yet.
Just teasing. Way to go, man. Way to
It's
go.
Berkeley Blue, right? Yeah, okay. Congratulations again.
And so you know, there's also a National Veterans Fraternity we can check out that would starting the chapter.
Awesome. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. All right. So our last bill is AB 421, and Assemblymember Calderon will be presenting.
He's on his way from.
He's right here.
There he is. Good to go. Outstanding.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. I come before you today to present AB 421, which will require the Governing Board of California Community College District to provide a veterans counselor on each campus where more than 200 veterans are enrolled. I will save you the rest of that due to your generous motion in a second and yield the rest of my time to my witness.
All right.
Madam Chair, members, staff, I will keep my testimony really short. As a representative of the CBP Veterans Caucus, I represent students across the state, and as an 8-year veteran myself and the former president of the Student Senate for California Community Colleges, I got out of the Air Force, went to a community college, and unfortunately had a well-intended counselor that didn't know anything about the GI Bill benefits or that my 75 semester hours in electrical engineering could have been accepted at 56 of the then 109 community colleges. So I strongly urge your support for this bill. I don't want students to go through the same experience that I did, and I appreciate the author's work. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Any other witnesses in support?
David Norris, Student Veterans of America, Chairman for the Department of California Veterans of Foreign Wars. Support this bill highly. Thank you.
Lorna Grease, Military Officers Association of America. We support this bill also.
Yes, Martin Snezik, Vietnam Veterans of America, we do support.
All right. Thank you very much. Any witnesses in opposition? No? Any questions or comments? Mr. Salas?
Thank you. Mr. Calderon, I want to commend you on this bill. Obviously, this is a great bill. I actually asked my local community college how many veterans we had there, and was pleasantly surprised to know that we had a couple hundred there. And so your bill would provide, obviously, the resources to help folks. I was just wondering how you came up with this bill and this bill idea.
Well, yeah, this was something that was brought to me by local veterans, and there's no hiding the fact that our veterans need more support as they're leaving service, especially when it comes to integrating them into college and making sure that there are resources available to them to help them be more successful within a college environment, specifically within community colleges. And so because of that and understanding and recognizing the need, we wanted to carry a bill specific to this.
Thank you.
Mr. Daly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say what a great idea this is, and I think it should be very, very efficient to have one person on each campus whose sole job is to help veterans, and that's a wonderful idea. It's sometimes the simplest ideas are the best ones, and this is really, I think it'll bear great results. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Daly.
All right. Any other questions or comments? You have the last word. Mr. Calderon.
Just want to thank you all for your support and respectfully ask for your aye vote.
All right. And we have a first and a second. I think I heard a third. Secretary?
Motion is due pass and refer to appropes. Irwin?
Aye.
Irwin, aye. Mathis? Aye. Mathis, aye. Alejo? Aye. Alejo, aye. Bro? Aye. Bro, aye. Brown? Chavez? Aye. Chavez, aye. Daly? Aye. Daly, aye. Frazier?
Aye.
Frazier, aye. Solis? Solis, aye. 8-0.
All right, so the motion is due pass and refer to appropriations. Congratulations.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members.
All right, we are going to open the roll.
AB 1401, Chavez.
AB what?
1401.
1401.
What's that?
Aye. Chavez, aye. AB 1530, Chavez. Chavez, aye. AJR 7. Chavez, aye. And AB 75, Chavez. No voting. AB 388, Chavez. Chavez, aye. And that is it.
All right.
No, you haven't.
My
understanding is that Ms. Brown is not going to come. She's in a meeting, so I believe we can adjourn.
Okay, this meeting is adjourned.